selection. So hey everyone, it's how-to videos. Now it's been a long hiatus since I last made a video, but have something good for you today. I'm going to do a DIY subwoofer selection and install based on what kind of fits your needs for 2018, could be 2015, 2016, the new C-Class Mercedes. So anyways, I got a car about a year ago. I've kind of been holding out on a video, kind of enjoying the ride. Haven't really modified it too much up to this point, but that's about to change. So I'm here to take you along for this next step in the journey. Recommending this to anyone with the Mercedes C-Class, ideally to go out and purchase a subwoofer if you tend to listen to music loudly. The sound system has 6-inch indoor subwoofers, which aren't really sufficient. They kind of hit the mids, but they don't really get the highs. So just want to make sure the microphone's picking up everything I need to today. Want to make sure it's nice and clear, nice and loud. So you see we have about 3 options here. I started through this journey, began with this Belva 12-inch subwoofer box. You see it's pretty shallow, about 5.5 inches deep at the top. I think it's about 8.5 at the bottom. I initially thought this would fit in the trunk. The sad part is like, oh, it's not too tall. Look, it's slightly smaller than the kicker. Didn't fit. The top of the trunk is, I guess, the deepest part of the trunk is angled in such a fact where it's like 11.5 inches tall. You can't really get a 10. You could get a 10-inch in there. You can't get a 12-inch sub in there up against the back wall if you want to just really cram it in there and save some space. So. I did have an Image Dynamics ID Max 12 mounted to this, since I've not really used it, since it didn't work with the 1 ohm amplifier, at least the impedance that I was running. So that, no go, I would not recommend that to anyone. The sound was good, but you probably needed a really powerful amp to push either a 2 ohm or a 4 ohm final impedance. So anyway, so moving on, this can be your option if, say, you somehow still want a slim line but want to stand it up in the same footprint. And I will show this to you in the trunk. I'm going to put all these in the trunk, kind of show how these line up and how these things fit. But this subwoofer takes up the exact same footprint because you have to end up mounting it like this. So assume it's a little slanted like this, almost like that. The trunk, how it sits, is how the subwoofer is going to sit. So in the end, it's kind of flat. Maybe it's slightly, a tilting, in this fashion, but this is at least what you need. If you want something to fit, ideally you have about 11 to 12 inches, and I'll give you an exact measurement of between the distance from the bottom of the trunk at the highest point to the metal bar that kind of is the top or the beginning of at least the part of the trunk that fits it. So anyways, moving on to business here. Best deal I saw online was this Kicker Comp ported sub box. This thing is great. Refurbished. Best deal on Amazon. I think it was $115, $110. I mean, super cheap. You can't beat this thing. Pounds out 500 watts. RMS with a sub and a box. And this box alone is like, I don't know, $45, $50. This thing is another $5, $10. You have the sub. I mean, this sub's like a $300 sub. So you do the math. This is 1/3 the cost of this sucker. And this is obviously deep, boomy bass. And I'll probably be back in part 2. I want to test the same subwoofer out on a non-ported box. Probably about a 1 1/4 cubic foot sealed box. And this is about 1 1/4 of ported. So it's already got the polyfill built in. It's got that nice port through here. Hear that? If you hit that, it's a nice boomy bass. I mean, nothing more than just driving down the block and your neighbors will hear you from like a mile away. I'm gonna give you guys a tour of this box here. So came shipped in another nice Amazon box. Well done with the refurb here. So what I'm actually going to do is I tested this out for about 3 to 4 days. I put about 4 to 5 hours in the sub, and I like it. Still breaking it in, but I'm a little greedy here. I can get the sound cubed subwoofer. Now this thing is flat out amazing. Thing will hit, I mean, like none other. I had it in my prior car. I think I demonstrated a video of that. This thing took 1200, 1500 watts RMS every day like a champ. Not a single whiff from whether it's the voice coils or anything on the speaker that showed any signs of wear and tear. I mean, this thing was flat out amazing. I was really impressed with this. So kind of went back to the well. I'm not sure if it's gonna be too overwhelming for this car. Given it's an imported box versus seal, I might end up running a sealed box with that subwoofer because it's just really damn powerful. But I know this subwoofer is a perfect fit to this box, given the kicker stands behind it, and this frankly is the best fit for this trunk. So you'll see if I kind of put these side by side, almost in this fashion. If you look at it, it's like, wait, they're the same width. This actually is a tad wider. But anyways, this does not matter because your trunk doesn't stop till about here. So, you know, unless you have some kind of a portable space contraption you can build underneath here and push this up about 6-7 inches and buy yourself some additional space in your trunk, which you likely don't need. Trunks are fairly deep and sufficient as is, and you can hide the amp. I'll show you where I had everything mounted and installed by a professional. That was not by me. This is something more that I will teach you to mount, install, and get going. So be on your way. Listen to some tunes. Anyway, so let's get to work here. So first I'm gonna do is unscrew this subwoofer. It is a 4mm. Notice, see here, show up the screen, impact gun, 4mm. I'm gonna take this out. Smells nice. You know, this box is it's well done. I must say, it looks like it's 3/4 inch thick MDF. This is perfect. You can't go wrong. I mean, this box alone, try to find these online, you're looking like $60-70 for a well-built box. So let me undo this very quickly. Oh, tell me this is freaking soldered. All right, so by virtue of kicker doing their own thing here, this better not be soldered on the other end. Son of. All right, well, we're gonna have to snip this and cut it to make it work for us. All right, so I'll narrate this part of the recording. We are currently stripping the wire inside the subwoofer. If you can, if you have the ability to, it's not really reachable in the subwoofer, but 10 gauge wire is optimal depending upon the amount of wattage you're running. And if you're going to run a 1 ohm sub, please make sure your amp can support it and you have the wiring and everything straightened out. And go to crushfield.com, get that wiring guide, and make sure you have both voice coils in sync. You have this wiring done the correct way, so you don't have to unscrew your box, take it out of your car, and redo the entire thing when you go to test it. So go back to the video, but it's really key here. Use the right wire, get it wired the correct time the first time, so it stays put. You don't have to fix something later that you could have done if you spent a bit more time. So any questions, comments, shoot me a message, shoot me some feedback. Thanks for watching, guys. Getting as far as it goes. Okay, and let's check it out. Oh, it might actually be a pretty good fit. Nice. I'm thrilled that this thing actually kind of fits in here. Fashion that this all right, we're back. So tomorrow, this is what's going to hold the subwoofer in place, believe it or not. These are steel. They're pretty darn powerful. Not sure if it says how much weight it supports, but I would have to say I wouldn't have any hesitation screwing this into my trunk, especially if you use the correct securing mechanism on the bottom onto the carpet. I tend to use, I'll have to show you the example, but either a Velcro-like solution and get it in place, kind of lock it in place. It's not a given because it can still shift around a bit and flop around if you hit a bump, so that's a no. Let me get this microphone wire out of the way, but even the drawer liners, those are perfect. They're cheap, easy, take 2 seconds to cut, and let's give this a go. So these are these pretty thick screws. Try and use these. What do I need? 2, 3, 4, 8. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, let's give this a rock and roll, and we'll be on our way. Hey, what's up everyone, it's how-to videos. I'm going to finish up the last segment of my install here. So you see I brought the sub box in here, already mounted it. It's going to move around. This thing is about 75 pounds, give or take, with the heavier sub in there, and I'd rather not have it destroy whatever's in my trunk. So I purchased two things. First, this drawer liner. You can get it at Bed Bath & Beyond, Home Depot, wherever you want to go. This is about just as wide as a sub box. I'm going to cut out just enough to stick underneath to kind of give me another mechanism to hold it down. This works fairly well if you had a, say, a rubber surface, but this will do the job for now. And then I guess the next part of this is Home Depot. When I purchased a few things, I will make note of what this is. It's called Simpson Sino Tie HRS8. So I took a nice elbow bracket. These are pretty thick. It's bigger than the typical ones you find there. You have to go like the outdoor gardening, all the way towards the concrete section of the Home Depot. This is, you know, more for like the lattice and fence posts and whatnot. So I took at least elbow bracket, mounted 3 or 4 screws drilled through. You have to have a metal drill bit, so anything that is able to withstand. You know, this thing heats up your drill bit. It's going to ruin the standard drill bit, so please be aware. I will show that later on in the video and add some pictures and links. Just took some 1-inch size screws. I think these are 5/16. You know, got some washers. Spray paint this black so it blends in with the sub box. That's how it's going to look ultimately. That's the end plan. I'm going to screw in the top of my trunk real soon, and let's get going. So here we go. So I'm going to cut this here, as you see. I just eyeball it. You can always trim this out later, but can't make this bigger, so. All right, that's done. I'll put this over here. The scissor up here for now. So step 2 is going to be to remove the sub box. You can see me struggling with this thing, and I'll get a nice close-up zoom when I do install this, but anyways. Okay, so I was messing around with this before and just kind of tested out. It worked. I was pretty happy about that. So just put that back over there for now. Ugh. All right, this thing is really freaking heavy, but it hits like none other. It is beautiful. It's gonna make your neighbors envious, and certainly your family will not be too pleased with you. But that is my forewarning. Don't say I didn't warn you. This is going to be very loud. I almost call this a budget system. You know, given this box was $120, the subs are $150. That's what, $275 for the sub and box together. You can unload the comp subwoofer for probably $50-$60 online. Maybe you're back down to $200, and the amp was $130. So I mean, under $400 with the line out converter, you're all said and done. That's great. And the install kit. All right, so this is gonna be a pain. You have to kind of pick up the sub like this and then shimmy it over. You don't want to move this. I mean, I would like to screw down, but I don't want to make holes where they're going to be visible, and that's the whole intent of this. The top of your trunk already has holes in there. I'm probably going to use a few of those. I'll give you a camera close-up, and that'll be the last phase of the install. But for now, we're going to scoot this up. All right, almost there. Last part's a little tricky because you've got a lot less room to work with. It's about this much clearance. So this is the absolute biggest box you can put in here without hitting anything. So make sure you have some help. Be nice to have someone on the inside kind of just putting their hands under here and scooting it up. I don't have help at the moment, but that was something that you had. Couldn't hurt. So I've got about another 2 inches to go. This is now the last mile. So I'm going to get under here, and I'm going to kind of use my elbow and arm to maneuver this around. All right, and we are in. Up against that wall firmly, which is exactly how I wanted it to go. And it's looking good. So, anyways, let me just hide this speaker wire. Don't want that visible. Looks kind of ugly, but anyways, we'll leave it there for now. Let's go back and you know what? I'm actually going to want to pull this mat out just a bit. So I'm going to slide the box backwards. Because it's funny, the subwoofer, there's a... it's hot outside. There's a slant in your trunk. So there's a bunch of ground between kind of like the arch of your foot. It's hitting here and hitting there. You want this to come in contact with the subwoofer box as such. So one moment. There we go. Use my shoulder to move the box. It's freaking heavy. I wish I had like a couple 2x4s wedged underneath. But anyways, all right, the last part. This will be mounted just like that. So what we're gonna do is look for the holes underneath. I'm gonna do at least 3 of them. Why? Because they're already pre-drilled to make life very easy. So next phase of this, I'm gonna use 1 5/8 inch screws. These are, I mean, you can use 1 1/2, 1 1/4, but it's gonna go, it's not really gonna move around much, it just needs to be secure. So, anyways, I'm gonna grab my drill bit, start out with something fairly small. We've got 1 1/8 inch. Maybe 1/8. 5/32 looks, 5/32 looks a little too big. I'm gonna put this up to the camera. You want something a bit smaller than the screw so it'll puncture and make its own path. This really isn't kind of that big. You can use other screws, but this will do for now. This is not something that's going to be an expensive install. I want this to be cheap, easy, and able to use parts around the house. So I have grab a 1/8. I'll try this first, see how this works. Let's give this a go. I'm gonna put it, I mean, you could put it here in the middle. Kind of just depends on where you want this to go. I mean, as long as it's not on this corner, that's not gonna help you. I'd say smack dab right in the middle here should be more than sufficient. Let's give this a try and see what's up. And that was easy. All right, so I'm gonna test these bolts. You see here, they will not hit anything. Whoops. Which is exactly where we want to be. All right, let's try it. Let's just see how this works. I need something a little bigger, but you know what? For now, this is a good start. You know what? I'll probably put this in the box first. That might be a good idea. So I have a couple screws. I'm just going to put in one for now, just to get it in, then we can play with it for later. So I'm going to get another pair of screws. They're going to be much smaller. We don't need the 1 5/8. Probably maybe I'm going to do maybe an inch. And I don't want to puncture into the box. I want to keep this thing sealed.
This video, I wanted to demonstrate just how it looks in my trunk. This is it. This is the dirty trunk. Have a subwoofer mounted up. Final product doesn't take up much room. Same exact size as any other 12-inch sub you're having that's firing upwards, which is your best bet. You don't want to have the worries of having a subwoofer mount where it's facing your trunk. You might get a bit more decibels or some more SPL, but what's the point when it's flopping around your trunk, ruining whatever you have back there, as well as just causing a disturbance when you drive around and you hear plop, plop, plop. So, long story short, here's the clearance. It's, I mean, you're looking 1 to 2 inches. It's nearly perfect. Very happy with the outcome. Sound is fantastic. Anyone in New Jersey, feel free to come listen. Shoot me a message or comment. You probably hear me rolling down the block from far away, but I hope you enjoyed this video and stay tuned for more. Thanks, guys.